You've spoken very highly of Eric Chelle. It's such a heavy burden to
Yes.
be the head coach of Nigeria. It doesn't matter if you're a foreign coach, if you're a Nigerian coach, especially if you're a domestic coach. But this is kind of interesting because Shell, he played for Mali. He's kind of, he kind of straddles that line, right? Because I think he's French born, but he also played for Mali. And when he was hired, a lot of derision, a lot of negative comments on social media, even from past famous players, Nigerian players as well. It's never easy, but it seems like he's kind of let all this criticism kind of bounce off him. Tell us why. I mean, this is such a bold move for him to coach at this Chan. I feel it kind of just shows his commitment, but it's also, do we question his sanity a bit because it's such a challenge and it's such a bold move. Tell us why you like Eric Chelle as a coach and just how, what do you think of his decision to take on this responsibility to coach at the Chan?
Really great question. And I think in terms of giving himself the best possible chance to have the job, especially knowing that it's a very highly coveted job around the world, coaches in Europe, coaches anywhere, they want to be coaching the Super Eagles. So I think when negotiations came in, I think it was almost, okay, I also want to take the Chan team. I also want to coach the local based players because I want to bring that through. I don't just want to watch the league. I want to be responsible for those players and have that development of growth in Nigerian football. And that would have been music to the ears of the guys on the Federation Technical Committee, I would imagine. And I think that is also something that I think enabled them to secure the job. Now, the way that the results have gone for the Super Eagles in terms of World Cup qualification has been difficult, and they may not qualify. Added to that already is the fact that he is from Mali, French-born, as you said, French background. So the Nigerian fans, media have said, well, if you can't get a highly qualified European coach, then why didn't you go for a Nigerian coach? Why did you have to go for somebody from Mali? So that's brought on unwanted scrutiny again. And then I think everything is just combined where now he's going to be under pressure in the tournament. I really worry for him because I know he's a quality coach, but I also know that the body of work that he produced, I wouldn't say he was fortunate to get the Super Eagles job. I could see why he got it. And I was very happy that he got the appointment for sure because he's an African coach. But you have to start backing yourself. They played in the mini tournament, the Unity Cup. They got that trophy on board. But trust me, it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. That's even probably 1 hour after lifting that trophy, it was forgotten about and probably never spoken about again. Nigeria expects to win AFCON, expects to go to World Cup, expects to even one day win the World Cup. Never mind winning Chan. That should be the least of what the country should be able to do. So we have all this in terms of that powerhouse, and I have the concerns, I have the worries, but one of the things that I admire about the coach is that he's very bullish and he's very brave and he sticks to his guns and he'll approach this challenge head on. But I just don't know whether he'll be able to overcome this challenge yet.
Yeah, and that's the number one thing I think we should take out of it is that he should be applauded for taking on this challenge, for wanting to become familiar with the domestic-based players, which is something that supporters in African nations, they want coaches to be invested in the domestic game. They don't want some European coach who just flies in, handles the World Cup qualifiers, and then, goes back home and doesn't pay any attention. That's kind of the stereotype of the European coach or the foreign coach, so to say. I think he should be commended for taking on this responsibility. But yeah, I just have to say, he could have easily left this to a domestic coach. He's got this World Cup qualifying campaign, which has gone horribly wrong for Nigeria. there's so much uncertainty there, with South Africa. They might have points deducted. Nigeria pretty much has to win out. They're going to have to go to South Africa and win in a few months. And
Yep.
do you think that if Nigeria gets bounced in the group stage of this tournament, do you think? I mean, I guess in the end, he already knows the pressure's really high. He's going to have to win that match in South Africa. But do you think it could get so severe if they get bounced that he might get replaced before that South Africa match?
Yes, anything is possible. It just depends on the level of performances. It depends on whether the public and the federation can see the improvement in the team. They want to see a team that's well coached, because I think traditionally Nigerian teams have not been so structured, not been so disciplined. So they want to be able to see Eric Chelle's qualities as a coach reflected in the team. For sure, if the results don't come and the performances are not up to standard, yes, he can lose his job before the World Cup qualifiers, for sure. Because the clamour and the call will be so big from the media, from the fans, from all sides, that by the time those games comes around, to have them play them in such a negative atmosphere is counterproductive. So in order to ease the noise and give everybody the best possible chance, then you remove the source of that noise and that negative press. If that happens to be the head coach as a result of the CHAN, then he's going to go. I think the federation will be a little bit more thinking long term, because the World Cup qualifiers, maybe they can get into the playoffs, get second place, and get to the playoffs is also feasible. And then they've also got the next AFCON as well. So they don't want to have so much, we talked about it before, disruption. They don't want to be chopping and changing coaches so much. But there is no doubt that if the team doesn't perform up to expectations, then because it's Nigeria, Eric Chelle's job will be on the line.
Things change so quickly. The winds of change come very quickly in Nigerian football. And if they don't do well, everybody's going to be scrutinizing his decisions, his tactics. And that includes former Nigerian national team players who we've heard in the media have made comments. They're actively plotting, to take over that job. But I think I heard Garba Lawal. We did an article about Garba Lawal who said, "Yeah, I'm ready to coach the Super Eagles one day." It's not even subtle, So the vultures will be circling if Nigeria gets bounced in the group stage.
Of course.
So before
and just to add into the mix that we talked about, in terms of all the circus that will be going on around the team, you also have people within that who will be close to the team, who will want to undermine, who will want the team to get knocked out, who want the coach out of the job because maybe they have somebody lined up or they prefer to see a Nigerian in place. It happens. It's something that I'm sure, is aware of. He has to surround himself, and he has to surround himself with his trusted coaches. But he will also know that, listen, I need to make sure that I take care of the team, minimal distractions, and we all stick together, because there's people who may even infiltrate the camp and the hotel that we're staying in and the training ground and try to mix things. And the old adage of a country's population, everybody's a coach. With a huge country like Nigeria, 250 million coaches, they're all going to be wanting that job. So Eric Chelle has a lot to deal with.